What's up, everybody? This week on Inside the Pocket, we're going over what we've been up to this week. We are going to be covering a recap of the Bears vs. Ravens game, as well as project the rest of Week 1 preseason. We're going to be going over a little PGA standing, since we are big golf guys now. Wow stories of the week, what we would do if we were president, going to go over our conspiracy theories. As we promised last week, we'll be covering the top 10 Pope names of all time, hitting you up with some tender talks and some debatables, and a live beer review from Barrels Bar and Grill on the corner of Highway K and Highway N in O'Fallon, Missouri. Well, let's go.
Welcome to Inside the Pocket. It's one of your hosts, Austin Robinson, and with me as always is my co-host, Gavin.
What's up, guys? We have had a pretty exciting week and weekend. I've been working at the Blue Stadium, getting it ready for the NHL season. It's pretty exciting. It's going to look pretty awesome. They're doing a lot of great renovations in there. So I'm excited for that to start off.
Bunch of horseshit, they wouldn't let you take one of the seats.
Yeah, they were selling some of the old seats to season ticket holders, and then all the other ones are just thrown away, and we asked about them if we could get a couple, and they're like, no, they don't think it's fair to give them away to people when they made the season ticket holders buy them, and it was like, okay, well, where are you taking them? And I'll just go fucking get one.
Yeah, or see how much they were and buy one.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll buy one. Then
yeah, I would have bought one. I would have bought, like, 4 of them, like it's a section.
Yeah, a row of them. Yeah. That would be badass.
Yeah, that would make for a great thing to put, like, in your house. We could have set it up here and just sat in them when we did the podcast. Yeah, that'd been awesome if we did any, like, video content. If you guys want to see video content or more video content, let us know. Yeah,
we've been posting stuff on our Instagram, even though we have no followers there, really. But we've been posting it on Facebook, too, where a few of you guys interact with us a little more, so let us know if you like that or if you want to see more shit that we're up to. What else have you been doing other than working?
Losing in golf to you for the first time.
That's right. Today marks the first time.
And one of the last times.
I don't know about that. I'm going to say the first of many.
No. I had a rough day. Come back. We all know.
Austin's calling for a multi-week hiatus to gather his shit, to get all his shit and just get it together, because I dismantled him as a man and as a human being today.
It was upsetting, and I'm not proud of myself. For those of you who do follow our Instagram and Facebook, you saw me not being happy walking to my ball on one of the holes today.
Yeah, it was a rough day for you, and I wish you would have done a little bit. I wish it would have been one of those things where I just beat you by a stroke or two, because then it would have been like, damn, okay, good game, awesome. But you were just so upset you couldn't even be happy for me to beat you.
I was happy you were doing well, but I couldn't do anything, which sucked because on the second hole I get a birdie. I'm like, let's go. Day's going to be good. Let's get it. And then
you hit 2 7s in a row.
Yeah, I get 2 7s in a row on the next 2 holes, and it just ruined me for the rest of the day. I couldn't do anything.
One hole, I'm pretty sure we called it 8, but I think you hit.
I think maybe, I hit 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bad time.
Because eventually you just started blindly hitting the ball back and forth.
Yeah, across the hole. I didn't give a shit on that hole, and I was so upset. We also had a family reunion.
Yeah, that was a wild time. People thought we were... So our family, our extended family, they're from down in southern Missouri a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not super south, but southern.
They're like a couple hours south of Deloge.
Yeah, Deloge, Potosi type area. And they are churchies. Yes. As we like to call them. Mm-hmm. They're very devoutly religious, and we are devoutly not.
Yes.
And so when they saw a couple of heavily tattooed random dudes charging their cars as they pulled into my dad's estate, they were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, having to tell people where to park and stuff, and then be like, you guys need help? And they're like, no, we got it.
Yeah, no, we're fine. Please just don't kill us.
Yeah, so then we went and sat in the garage that was 100 degrees, and we just kicked back and had some brews while everyone was pulling up, and we went and gave people some directions.
They would just kind of eye us up as we went by. We kept just telling them we were the security.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And so, yeah, wasn't bad. We kind of mingled after a while, went inside, had some food. But man, it's wild to see some of your distant relations and be like, how am I connected with these kinds of people?
Yeah, like, not like these kinds of people like, oh, but like, they're just so different from what we are.
Yeah.
That just, and the one little kid who was an asshole decided to turn off the AC to the upstairs while nobody knew.
And then my fat ass was sitting there crying about how hot it was. I'm literally just dripping sweat sitting at the table trying to get everybody to go downstairs where it's cool. Finally, we did. And we realized that it's 87 degrees upstairs because somebody flipped the AC switch.
Yes. So
that was miserable. Speaking of golf, though, earlier, Barrel's Taphouse, our amazing sponsor, is doing a giveaway right now. If you go in, you can enter for every beer that you purchase from now until Tuesday evening when they draw the tickets. You could win 2 tickets to the PGA Tour, which will be here in St. Louis
at the Belle Reve Country Club.
Yes. And so if you want to check that out, if you're big golf guys or golf ladies, be sure and check out Barrels. And when you buy those beers, maybe ask them about an Inside the Pocket t-shirt, and they'll hook you up with one of them, and then you could rock that at the PGA, and you'll be looking fresh as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Last night we did some mock drafts.
We did do some mock drafts last night.
Yeah, we did. Actually, we did a mock draft. We were going to do more.
Well, we did multiple, but we left them because people suck.
Yeah.
And if you're like these people, I don't want you to even listen to our podcast.
Yeah, if you're the kind of person that goes into these public leagues or these public mock drafts to do stuff and then leave, so we have to sit here with a bunch of fucking bots that do nothing but throw the next person on the board up and then go max bet every time. Don't even fucking do mock drafts, which also ESPN, you need to make it easier to make mock drafts where be like, we are not leaving. We will all sit here and stay the entire time. Because I feel like a lot of people go into those mock drafts and they see who they can get first or see how people are going in the first couple rounds and then they leave. When to me, the exciting part of it is when you get to where everybody only has like
$50 to $20.
Yeah, and it's like the money. Yeah, the money's getting really valuable. You can force people to spend a little more money than they wanted. You could start. I liked how you were talking about where even earlier on you throw up some quarterbacks or somebody that people, it might be one of those things like I might throw out a kicker or something earlier on that people will be forced to spend a little more money on in the later rounds, kind of fuck them over.
And if that doesn't work, put the kicker up that you want, because people might be like, oh, I'm not even going to bet on that right now, and then you get your kicker for $1.
There you go.
You might end up doing something like that, or you're going to make somebody spend like $15 on a kicker that would normally go for $3 at the end,
and then really fuck them over. So that's a little inside strategy for our fantasies. Shout out to the Mars rover, though, today, which is the 5th of August. You guys will be listening sometime between the 6th and whenever you decide to listen to it. But for us, it is the 5th of August. And shout out to the Mars rover. It's its birthday. Yep. And so every year on its birthday, it sings itself happy birthday. So that's a little sad, but we just wanted to let you know, Rover.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday. We're listening for you. Curiosity. That's all I really have on my week in review, really.
Yeah, that's about all I got on my review.
So we are going to go ahead and jump into some fantasy football and NFL stories.
Football is somewhat back.
There was a football game.
There was a football game. I wouldn't say there was a good football game, but there was definitely a game that was played amongst individuals who are trying to play the sport.
Yes. They didn't do the best.
No, they did not. The Ravens beat the Bears 17-16, and Lamar Jackson did okay for his first showing. He actually was able to come away with getting a touchdown on his first drive on the field, which is exactly what I wanted to see from him. I will say that the quarterback who was in before him kind of got robbed because he had I can't even think if the quarterback was in before him, but he threw a beautiful ball to a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And it was a diving catch in the touchdown, and the receiver had it like 100%. And when he hit the ground, just let go of the ball, and the ball squirmed out, and it made just a failure of a play.
Yeah, no, I actually believe that the person you're looking for from Baltimore was Woodrum, Josh Woodrum. He actually went 6 for 6 with 37 yards. He was only sacked twice, rushed once for 17 yards.
No, it was Griffin who I was talking about because the receiver dropped the ball, so he wouldn't have went 6 for 6.
Oh, you're true. So that would have been virtually impossible. So RG3 had a really good pass that was potentially a touchdown.
Yes, and the guy dropped it.
And then as far as him and Jackson each threw an interception, which Woodrum did not. Woodrum rushed once for 17 yards, while Jackson rushed 8 times to accumulate 25, and Griffin rushed 3 times for 9 yards. Is Woodrum somebody to be looking at?
Is Woodrum elite? Does the Ravens finally have an elite quarterback on their squad?
We might have to. I mean, I'm interested to see a little more of him later on in the preseason.
I hope they don't play Robert Griffin on the next one. One, to confuse other teams, make him not even pad up. But Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson, and Woodrum pad up. But don't even play Joe Flacco. Do those two. But it'll throw everyone off. Like, why is RG3 not in pads? Why is he the one that they're not instead of Joe? Because on this game, Joe Flacco did not pad up. He just watched. So do that and do some mental games with other teams.
Get some confusing things going on. But all in all, I heard a lot of people say RG3 didn't look that bad.
No, he actually didn't look bad, but
he didn't look good.
Yeah, he didn't look good. He just looked like your average Joe preseason quarterback who's trying to get back in the league.
Similar to Chase Daniels, who also just did meh. Actually, you could say Chase Daniels didn't do good because he had 2 interceptions and was also sacked twice, only accumulated 53 yards out of his 8 completions out of the 16 attempts. And Tyler Bray did a lot better than that. I guess the Bray guy got a little more playing time, obviously, than Chase did.
Yeah.
And he ended up accumulating 181 yards with 1 rush that didn't go anywhere. But, I guess it was a close game.
Well, it was because it was 17-16. It was a 1-point game. I would consider that pretty close.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was one of those games where it was kind of a blowout and then towards the end somebody caught up, or if it was kind of back and forth the whole time. Because I know when I came over, Baltimore was up by 10 points.
I think so.
And I wasn't watching it because we had stuff going on, but I know you were watching. I was trying to listen to it on the radio when I came over, but it didn't seem like a super exciting game, but
a lot of sloppy play, and the new helmet rule is going to ruin football because there were like 6 of the penalties called last night for the new helmet rule.
I actually saw, I can't remember who it was. I'll have to look it up so I can post the story on Facebook, but it was I actually shared it on Facebook, and it was somebody, they were wearing a hat that said "Make Football Violent Again."
Yeah.
And they actually shared a picture where I guess the rule says something about you have to lead with the face mask and you can't drop your head.
Yeah.
So he installed another face mask on his helmet on top of the helmet. He's like, just gonna mod my helmet.
That's a good move.
Yeah, and so that would be a pretty smart idea. But that is just the first game that we have going on this week. One thing I noticed that's a little bit different is all the preseason games are going to be played on Thursdays and Fridays.
Yep.
A little bit different. It's going to make Sundays feel kind of empty again, but I would really like to know why they did this.
I'm not 100% certain. I'm thinking just for a time crunch because I think they're going to have games closer together. They're going to get all of them through just since it's preseason.
Yeah.
But obviously once the season starts, it's
going back to Sunday.
Hiccups. I am so sorry.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead and jump into the technically week 1, but they call it week 2 of the preseason. They do. If you look it up, it'll say week 2.
Really? I'm pretty sure this just says preseason week 1 right here where I'm looking at it.
Week 2 of 5. So, anywho.
I guess it is technically a different week, but
it's not like a full string of games.
Yeah, they only had 1 game.
Yeah.
But the first one that we got up here is the Browns versus the Giants.
Giants are going to take that.
Giants are going to take that one?
I think the Giants are going to take that one for sure.
Any big names that you think will actually get into the game, or you think it'll be similar to the Ravens-Browns game where it's just going to be a few people piddling around?
I think it'll be similar to I think the whole week is going to be pretty similar.
I think the Browns are going to win that. I think they're going to actually maybe play a few people and be like, you know what? I know it's preseason.
Oh, you mean like put their actual roster out there?
Maybe a couple people out there just to make sure that let people know the Browns are coming this year.
Well, Baker Mayfield will be on the field during preseason for them, so he might be able to do something. Who knows?
Hopefully he does a little better than Menzel did in his CFL game, where he threw 4 interceptions in the first half, maybe
he lost
5.
56-11.
Yeah, 50-something to 11. It was very, very ugly. He was humble about it, saying that, it went about as bad as it could possibly fucking go.
Yeah.
And that he was going to use it for motivation moving on.
Well, it's Canada. They use, metric. It's a different game up there.
Yeah, totally threw him off. It's going to take some time to get used to that.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping to the next one will be the Panthers versus the Bills. I feel like the Panthers will take that one.
I'm also taking the Panthers for that.
Next up, we got the Bears and the Bengals.
I'm going to take the Bengals after seeing the poor play of the Bears against the Ravens.
I agree. Hopefully the Bears, I know, listening to PMT, they were talking about how they hope this would be an 8-8 season, just kind of improve a little bit. Based on what I saw in preseason, it's going to be another rough year, but hopefully that's just based on who they're playing and not a reflection of what the starting team's going to be. Eagles versus Steelers, a pretty exciting preseason.
Taking the Steelers.
Taking the Steelers in that one?
I'm taking the Steelers over the Eagles. I believe the Steelers are going to have a better bench setup than the Eagles.
Really? You know who's on the Eagles bench?
Ooh, I didn't.
Former Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
That is true, but do you think they're going to play him in it?
I don't know. Do you think they'll play him or Wentz at all? I actually think they would play Wentz more than Nick Foles but it's also risky. You'd like to get him in there warming up, but also you don't want to see something happen to him in preseason.
Yeah, but if he does, they got Big Nick back there. I would consider Nick the starting quarterback right now, and because Wentz got hurt and they need to get him rehabilitated and used to playing again. But if Wentz comes out and he plays well, he'll be the starter. Well, and if he goes down in preseason, well, still got Nick Foles.
It'll be interesting to see. We got the Saints versus the Jaguars after that.
Who are you taking there?
I don't know. That's going to be an exciting game because the Saints are going to have a pretty nuts offense this year, but you got Jacksonville coming in hot with...
You got to remember it's only preseason, so there's going to be a lot of players not playing, and I'm taking Jacksonville on it.
I would still probably take Jacksonville because I feel like based on how watching last year the Jaguars play, that they would probably just have... backups that would be a little stronger than what the Saints showed last year. Mm-hmm. We got the Buccaneers versus the Dolphins after that.
I think this is going to be actually the worst one to watch this week.
I think that's going to be a pretty bad one to watch.
I believe this game, with the two teams combined, they don't score over 23 points.
That's the take. 23, under 23 on the Buccaneers-Dolphins game.
Yeah, and who I'm going to take on it is... I'm going to take the Dolphins because I think they're going to keep Ryan Tannehill in the game a little bit longer than the Buccaneers will keep Jameis Winston in the game.
I think the Buccaneers are going to win that one because I feel like they're going to be trying out the backup for Jameis Winston. Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has had one of those hit or miss kind of careers over the past few teams that he's been on.
Yeah, and the best team he did on with was the Jets, and then they let him go.
So it'll be exciting to see what he can do. They might even get into some Ryan Griffin or Austin Allen out there. Obviously, you dress all three of those guys since Jameis Winston can't even play.
Yeah.
And so, now let me ask you this. If a player suspended those games, can they play in the preseason?
I think so. I think they're allowed to play in the preseason. It's only for regular season is the suspension.
Yeah, because you couldn't be like, oh, he set 4 games. All 4
because I'm pretty sure Le'Veon Bell played in the preseason last year.
Even though he wasn't playing at the beginning of the next.
You were talking about the backup that's on Tampa Bay. On Miami, they got Brock Osweiler as the backup.
Ooh,
so he's another quarterback who is hit or miss. So you're going to have a couple of quarterbacks that both had decent times.
Might have chips on their shoulders, something they feel like they can still maybe prove going against each other.
Yeah,
so it might actually turn out to be a little bit of a. It'll be one of those games that'll be exciting. It'll be exciting to see who is going to fuck up the most.
Who's the less worst?
Who's the best worst quarterback?
Yeah, yes.
After that, we got the Redskins versus the Patriots. Who do you think is going to take that one?
I think the Patriots are going to take it, and I'm wondering if the Redskins are going to keep Alex Smith in the game a little bit longer or not, since he's a new quarterback on a new team, leaving Kansas City last year.
Gotcha. I will be excited to see kind of what the Patriots can do in the preseason. I don't know. What do you think their year in all is going to be like this year with the Patriots?
I think the Patriots, as long as Tom Brady's playing, they're a playoff team. If Brady goes down, they do have Brian Hoyer as a backup who did have an okay season a few years ago.
And what about this Danny Etling?
I have no idea who he is.
All right, well, maybe we'll get to see him, and maybe he'll just be one of those, hey, Tom Brady's getting a little old.
That's what Tom Brady did to Drew Bledsoe. So you never know what's gonna happen and when it's gonna happen, because everyone retires and Tom Brady's got to leave the game eventually.
You look like Kurt Warner did the same thing, and then the guy that Bulger did almost the same thing to him, even though Bulger's nothing compared to people like Kurt Warner and obviously Tom Brady. But it's one of those things that you have these players who have made a career out of stepping up when somebody else is either getting older or happen to go down. After that, we have the Rams versus the Ravens. I'm going to take the Rams there. The Rams are pretty much a fucking super squad right now, and I bet their second string could beat quite a few first strings in the NFL.
Yeah, the Rams are stacked, and I actually expect the Rams to use a lot of their starters that they got through the free agency this year.
Just to help build some chemistry?
Yeah, just to get them on the field to see how they play. In LA, for one, coming from different backgrounds, and now they're going to be all together. And there's a lot of people in that locker room that are vocal. So I'm actually excited to see if the Rams don't implode in the middle of the season, like people getting jealous of certain people getting the ball more, or somebody not doing enough on defense.
So it might be one of those things where you talk about, you look at the Golden State Warriors in the NBA and how well they've done having just all superstars on their team, but it can also go the other way where you get so many big egos in the same room and they start clashing with one another. After that, we got the Titans versus the Packers. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick the Packers there.
I'm going to take the Titans.
Take the Titans. What makes you think that the Titans are going to outdo the Packers in this preseason game?
I think the Packers in preseason historically have a pretty rough time, and they typically don't win a lot of preseason games. But I think Marcus Mariota been on the field. They're going to put him on the field because he was kind of sluggish last year and he didn't play a lot in the preseason, and I think they're going to play him more this year
and try to get him up to speed.
Yes.
By the time the season starts.
And they have Blaine Gabbert back there as well.
So they got a couple people that they can get going in the preseason.
Yes.
Who do they got backing up Aaron Rodgers right now for the Packers?
I know they got Brett Hundley, who took over when Aaron Rodgers went down last year with the broken collarbone.
Yeah.
But they also have Deshaun Kaiser, and he came from Cleveland. So I'd like to see how he plays as well. He might do better than Hundley, who I don't think won a game with the Packers last year.
He's definitely going to have a little bit better squad around him than he had last year over in Cleveland. So, yeah, that will be exciting to see what they can do. After that, we got the Texans and the Chiefs. You think going to get a little Pat Mahomes action?
I think you're going to get quite a bit of Pat Mahomes action, actually. Even though I said earlier that I think they're going to have a bad season, I don't think Pat Mahomes is going to do too well for his first season. However, the Texans have Deshaun Watson coming back, who I think they're also going to play for a little bit. But behind him, they have Brandon Weeden, who has some
experience?
Yes, experience playing in the NFL. So I think he'll be able to overcome what the Chiefs have behind Patrick Mahomes.
Gotcha. Up next, we have the Cowboys versus the 49ers.
That's a pretty historical preseason game. Those are both teams with a lot of story behind them.
Who do you think's going to win this chapter? I think I don't like to say this typically, but I think I see the Cowboys taking this one out, although the 49ers are going to be an exciting team to watch this year.
I wonder if they're going to play Jimmy Garoppolo during the preseason for them, because currently he's undefeated playing as an NFL quarterback.
He might be a little too busy taking out porn stars.
That is true, getting his dick sucked.
He might. I wonder if, porn stars get tested a lot, so...
she's clean. Yeah, she's
so he's not going to worry about, itching when he's trying to throw balls or anything like that, but he might just be like, man, I'd really rather be hanging out with a porn star than throwing footballs right now.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And with the Dallas Cowboys, their backups are nobodies, so I don't think once Dak Prescott's out of the game, who had kind of a down season last year anyway, I don't think they're going to have anyone who can make plays for them. So I think they're going to have an extremely rough preseason.
All right, well, some of those no-names might surprise you. Colts versus the Seahawks.
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Okay.
Which sucks to say, and it hurts my heart, but the Colts just aren't a preseason team anymore, and they're just not anybody who can do anything. Jacoby Brissett, the Colts are really up saying he's such a good backup quarterback, but I don't see him ever going anywhere with it, and I think they should actually trade him. But
didn't they say they would not trade him for a first-round pick?
Yeah, they wouldn't get rid of him for a first-round pick, which I think is retarded.
Yeah, because there's a lot of good things you could do with the first-round pick, especially in the position that the Colts have found themselves in the past couple of years.
Yeah, but the Colts did say that Andrew Luck will play at least one quarter.
of this preseason
game. So Andrew Luck's going to be on the field for a quarter, not a drive, a quarter.
Unless he gets his shoulder blown out on the first drive, then he will only play one drive.
Which is always a possibility. And if that happens, I'm probably just going to hang myself with my Andrew Luck jersey in my bathroom.
Make a noose out of horseshoes and hang yourself.
Yeah.
After that, the following day, on Friday, we got the Falcons versus the Jets. Do I even need to say it? Falcons are going to walk away with this one.
You think so?
I do. They got Calvin Ridley, young stud coming in there. The Jets...
They drafted
get
Sam
Darnold in there. They can get Teddy Bridgewater in there. They can get Josh McCown in there if they want to. I don't care who they throw up there. You know what else is looking better this year? The defense. They have made improvements every year on defense as they've come along. I think last year, if our offense wouldn't have struggled so much, we'd do good because we had some amazing defensive plays last year.
I'm excited to see for the Falcons Ridley get a lot of play.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a stud.
Because after the first quarter, he's going to be like their number one receiver on the field for the rest of the game.
Pretty much.
So I'd like to see how he handles being in the main target spot.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that too. Because I can see Matt Ryan playing a little bit in the games. I don't know how long he'll play. But also, we have Matt Schwab, who's been in the league forever holding kicks for Matt Bryant. So he obviously knows the team. He kind of knows what they're expecting. So he might get out there and play a few. But we also got a couple new young guys, Kurt Benkirk and Garrett Grayson, so it'd be exciting to see how well they played because Matt Ryan obviously still has some years behind him, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to see some young guy maybe perform well and you know, be a young protege to train under Matt Ryan, be a pretty good guy to learn from.
Yeah, but I'm actually going to flip my opinion and say the Jets are going to win this game. For this alone, they have Sam Darnold, who I think they're going to play in the first quarter since he's a rookie quarterback. They're going to get his feet wet on the field, and I think he's going to do okay. But behind him with Teddy Bridgewater and Josh McCown, both of them have won NFL games. So I think they're going to have better experience on the field compared to the improvements that your defense has done over this last offseason.
But what about the rest of the team around the Jets with their offensive line, their defense that hasn't been the best in a few years? When you've got a young stud like Ridley coming in and you've got the improvements that have been made on that defense, do you really think a slightly experienced quarterback is going to make all the difference for that Jets team?
I think it'll make a big difference for the Jets team. I mean, as long as they can get the receivers open, those quarterbacks are going to have no problem giving them the ball. Like, you're not going to have them making silly mistakes because both of them had already played in NFL
I understand that the quarterbacks might not make mistakes, but do you think the Jets' backup wide receiver core has the ability to get open on an ever-improving Falcons defense? And the Falcons' pass rush is one of the best in the league.
And I will give you that. The Jets' offensive line is going to have a real struggling time, especially after the first quarter when they're getting the rookier people out there. But I just see, because in preseason, I think the quarterback is so much more important, because if you can get the ball to those guys, because those guys who are out there on preseason, they're fighting for a job. Yeah. So the wide receivers, like a couple years ago when Will Fuller got drafted to the Texans, nobody knew who Will Fuller was, and he blew up for like a 204-yard game in his first preseason game. People were like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah. Because he was fighting for a job. He realized he had to do good, so he tried his best. And I think that's what you're going to get out of the wide receivers for every team during the preseason. They're going to be doing a lot harder work than most of the new quarterbacks coming in. And with a team that has two quarterbacks that have previous NFL experience with the rookie wide receivers or free agent wide receivers fighting their hearts out to try and get a place on the job, they will get open on a defense.
And I think if you pay attention to the Jets, one wide receiver that I'm definitely excited to see will be Anderson. The dude doesn't have a huge name right now. If you look on fantasy, he's still very, very low. You can pick him up at the very end. That's definitely somebody I'd say keep your eyes on later in your fantasy drafts is Robbie Anderson, wide receiver for the Jets. Look up his highlights from last year. The dude doesn't have amazing playmaking ability. He's no Chris Carter or Randy Moss. They're not going to juke people out of their shoes, but he is very similar almost to a T.Y. Hilton, where before you know it, the dude's just downfield wide open and you weren't even paying attention. The dude has massive explosive speed, and he has hands. He makes incredible catches, and he can catch in traffic. He's not the kind of guy that you can throw a 15-yard pass to and he's going to juke his way down the field. But he's a guy that can get open, and if you get the ball near him, he's going to catch that motherfucker.
No, I didn't even know who he was until you showed me the video of him the other day, and I was actually mildly impressed, and I actually wrote him up on my draft board. Just because he is somebody that when you're getting to the later rounds, or if you're doing an auction and you're running low on cash and you need somebody for like a flex fill, like
and if you're in a Big 12 or even more man team where the players start to run thin towards those later rounds, definitely somebody to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
So after that, we got the Lions and the Raiders.
I'm riding that Raiders train. I think the Raiders are going to have a wonderful season this year.
And I don't think they're going to be bad. They're with the kind of wide receiving core and offense that they have, it's going to be hard not to have somebody good on the field at any point during this preseason. Who do they got backing up Derek Carr right now as far as the Raiders quarterbacks are concerned?
They have Connor Cook and E.J. Manuel. I think you'll actually see E.J. Manuel before you'll see Connor Cook.
Okay.
Just because E.J. Manuel has some playing time. But as long as, like I said earlier, if you have a quarterback that has a little bit of talent, who has a little bit of experience in the league, they're going to be a lot better in the preseason. And with, like I said, you're going to have running backs and wide receivers trying their hearts out, trying to make a name for themselves.
Well, it's definitely going to be hard to make for your name for yourself in the wide receiving core over at the Raiders because they got quite a few names already established.
Yes, and I think you're actually going to see Jordy Nelson a little bit during this preseason longer than you're going to see, like, Amari Cooper. I think they're going to keep Jordy Nelson on the field a little bit longer just to get him more in rhythm with their playbook and their style of
play. And that wouldn't be a bad idea, and it'd be exciting to see. After that, we got the Vikings and the Broncos. I think the Vikings are going to take this one.
I also think
another one of probably the top 3 defenses in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
I would put them up there.
Yeah, they're definitely a top tier defense. And on their offense, behind Kirk Cousins, they also have Trevor Siemian, who did play for the Broncos before. So he might have a little bit of insight whenever he's coming on the field playing against the Broncos.
Yeah, it might be one of those situations where obviously he didn't play the defense, but being on the team, you've played against that defense, especially in practices and stuff like that. Since it's preseason, you might know that team a little more than the other ones, help them pick the team apart a little bit. Finally, we have the Chargers and the Cardinals. I'm gonna say the Cardinals pick this one up. Young stud quarterback coming in, excited to play for the team. I think the Chargers are going to have a good season. I know you and I disagree on that. You don't think they'll have nearly as good as a season because of the Raiders?
Yeah, I think the Raiders are just going to own that division.
But I think the Chargers are definitely going to give them a run for their money. But you definitely can't not look at the Cardinals. I mean, who do we got playing for the Chargers quarterback wise right now? Phillip Rivers might get in there a little bit, but after that,
they got Geno Smith, which Geno Smith is always kind of like a hit or miss kind of quarterback. He was like really bad when he was actually on the Raiders, so that's another thing. Being in that division, you might know something about the Raiders later on in the season. But yeah, seeing him in the game, I think would be kind of interesting because he's kind of like a lackadaisical quarterback. But he might be trying to replace Phillip Rivers because Phillip Rivers was drafted the same year as Eli Manning, and they're both kind of coming down the end of their ropes.
Who else might we see on the field other than Phillip Rivers or Geno Smith?
Cardale Jones and Nick Shimanek. He is probably Italian. Or German. Something not American. That's not an American name.
That's not a very American name. The Cardinals, however, have quite a few quarterbacks at their disposal, though.
Yeah, they drafted Josh Rosen, and after him, Sam Bradford. And if Sam Bradford can stay healthy, he's not a bad quarterback.
I mean, he definitely has the potential. I mean, he started off with the Rams when they were back here in St. Louis and has definitely made his way around the league.
Yes.
But
I mean, he lit it up in Minnesota.
I think, like you said, if he can stay healthy, I think he could have a decent season. But also, he's one of those guys we even talked about how at one point his stats don't really show that he's like a monster quarterback, but he's not a bad quarterback. There's plenty of teams that would obviously, there's a lot of teams that would take him as he's made his way around. But do you think you see a little more of Josh Rosen, or do you think you see more of Sam Bradford, since they do there have been talks that they're really not sure who who they're going to be going with in that situation.
I think you're going to see a lot of split time between the two of them in the preseason. My guess, by the end of the season, Josh Rosen will be the starter. However, if Sam Bradford comes out in this preseason and tears it up, he's going to be starting week 1 till he either gets hurt or has a really shitty game. And then after that is when Josh Rosen's going to take over. But if Sam Bradford doesn't have a shitty game, he's going to be the starting quarterback.
All right, well, that'll be exciting to see. That pretty much covers everything that's going to be going on preseason this week. It's, you're not going to see, obviously, regular season excitement, but it will be nice just to have some football on to watch. I'll definitely be checking it out. Let us know what you guys are excited to see as far as the preseason goes, or if you agree or disagree with any of our terrible ideas and takes that we come up with. But that pretty much wraps up the football section. We're going to throw right into the PGA, as right now currently the NHL really doesn't have anything going on. We're kind of in that dead area of just waiting.
Yeah.
And so with all the golf that we've been playing, we've gotten into a little bit of the PGAs. I found out I have a golf channel.
Yep. On the TV. I hate watching golf because it just makes me feel like I'm even more terrible than the media.
Oh, I know, especially after you have a bad game and you watch these guys just send it and like drop it beautifully or chip a like 60-yard fucking shot into the hole.
Yeah, and I don't follow golf like I follow NFL or NHL, so I don't know a lot of the people by name. I know the big names, obviously, but when we were at 109 earlier, Barrel's Taphouse and Grill, we saw that guy come up and he 3-putted on the green, and a stat came up and it said the first time he's 3-putted on the green since 2015 as a professional golfer.
Which is wild because I haven't 3-putted since maybe a couple hours ago.
Yeah. I do it almost every day.
Yeah, and so it is wild to see truly how amazing some of these people are.
You never understand how skillful golf really is until you go on to the course and try it.
I've actually been kind of amazed when you first started telling me about golf and I decided to finally learn how to play it. I was kind of amazed that you would tell me how even worse there are as far as people go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, worse, not good whatsoever. But we've even witnessed some people that obviously have been playing for years. I've been playing for a few weeks. And you're like, yeah, these people have played for years and years. And look at them.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is people are way slower. Like, people move so slow playing golf, I feel like. It's just a lackadaisical sport, and I get that. But when you have people behind you and ahead of you and people behind us, I mean, the other day we sat there and we had 2 carts sitting behind us waiting to tee off after us because we were waiting on the people in front of us.
Because they would take 27 fucking practice swings every single shot they took down the fucking course.
Yeah.
And so that was a little wild. But the WGC Bridgestone Invitational was on this weekend. I definitely caught some of that, and it was exciting to kind of see some of the pros and stuff since I'm just getting into it. Justin Thomas took this one, but it was kind of sad to see Tiger ended up tying his career low with only 5 pars. I know we watched some of his stuff, and it wasn't pretty.
It's not good. Like I said earlier, you almost wish he would have just stopped. A guy who was on top of the world at one point,
and not even people have to like go out with a bang or be on top. Like he didn't have to just go out while he was still amazing, but like maybe after a few years of progressing, be like, okay, look, I don't got it. But it seems like he's like, I ain't stopping until I hit the bottom of this mountain.
Right. I am excited to see him and Phil Mickelson square off for the $10 million.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I'll definitely enjoy doing that. And I actually have a take. Maybe he's throwing some of these little ones around and just trying to throw Mickelson off of his game and then come out fucking hot for the
and just destroy him
and just shit on him and
that'll be interesting.
And then Tiger will be back.
Tiger will be back. Yeah, Tiger's not looking so good right now. He's just looking like he's in a rough place, and he might be using a dented golf club that he was hit with at one point.
Yeah, because it wasn't looking very good. But the positions as far as how everybody did, Justin Thomas obviously won the event with a minus 15 score. Kyle Stanley took second with minus 11. There was a tie for third between Trebjorn Olsen and Dustin Johnson, and Brooks Koepka picked up the 5th position. But obviously there was a shit ton of people playing. I'm not going to read all these motherfucking names, but it was exciting to see a little bit of good golf, and it gives me something to work towards, although I'll never be that good at probably anything.
No.
And that's about it for the golf stuff.
Yeah, golf. Big golf guys now.
Big golf guys now. We're pretty excited. I'm now better than Austin, so I'll be excited to keep playing.
He beat me once.
And that's all it takes. Next, we're going to be jumping over to the segments where we actually can get a little loose. And we're going to start it off with a wow story of the week.
Wow.
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 All right, Austin, what was your wow story of the week?
So this one was actually really close to home. I'm actually working out in Eureka, Missouri right now, pretty close to Six Flags St. Louis. And 14 people were arrested in Eureka the other day along Highway 109 in Eureka. The Eureka police stopped a van, like a cargo van, and the dude driving it hops out the van and just starts booking it. Gone. Run.
Send it.
Gone. Out of here. So the police officer then goes up to the van and realizes there are 13 other people inside the van, all illegal immigrants.
Wow. Maybe they were just trying to catch a good time at Six Flags.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they were all trying to go out there and buy like 14 season passes or something. Cops are just coming in and ruining a good time.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, look, we're not here to take jobs or anything. We're just trying to have a good time.
Yeah, but I'm discrediting the guy who has all these illegal immigrants in his van just to hop out of the front seat and bail and leave 13 people behind and just try and get out of there.
He's probably just like, screw it. I have a door right here. You guys are stuck in the back. Sorry, later.
But the police did eventually catching up to him, and they arrested him as well. So right now there's 14 illegal immigrants in prison somewhere in St. Louis.
It's crazy that they get this far up before being discovered.
They're everywhere, actually. Yeah.
Didn't you say you went to Minnesota and worked for a while, and they were like...
Oh, yeah. There were a bunch of people
They
there.
were just like, oh, they don't expect us up here, so that's where we're hanging out.
Yeah. Minnesota, actually, a lot of people up there called it the diversity of the United States. Because they said there's so many people who leave countries, and like if you go too south, it's racist, and if you're too far left, you become stereotyped. And they're like, but if you come to Minnesota, you're fine because
everybody just doesn't care.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit up here. So they're like, the whole time I was there, I was the minority. I probably saw 4 other white people while I was up.
That's wild.
Yeah, and that's true. I only saw 4. Pretty much everyone else I either saw was Indian, Mexican, or African American.
So Minnesota is a very big, cold melting pot.
Yes.
It's a freezing pot.
Yeah, it's a freezing pot.
Just put them all in there and freeze them up together.
Weird tasting frozen popsicle.
My wow story of the week involves a story out of Boise, Idaho, where 100 rogue goats took over a neighborhood.
Rogue goats?
I don't know whether they escaped from a petting zoo or if they got out of a farm, but people took to Twitter and started posting hundreds of goats going through, eating their lawns, eating their flowers, obviously shitting all over the place. I wonder how much, if there was vehicle damage, like, could you see a goat going up to, like, a Dodge Ram and being like...
Boom, ramming it, fucking it up.
The fuck out of it. That'd be ironic.
Do you think Farmers is going to have a commercial about goats tearing up places now?
That would be a good marketing strategy where if in that area they did one where it was like showed a bunch of rogue goats and like had them CGI'd where they were like spray painting people's shit and like, oh, fuck off. And then they were like, yeah, we saw that bunch of goats. Didn't give a fuck.
So where did the goats come from?
One of the reporters just said that there was about 100 of them. They don't know where they came from or what propelled them to go crazy.
So there's just a herd of 100 just roaming around that they didn't know where they came from?
Yeah, apparently, well, at first they didn't know where they came from, but then they discovered that the goats came from a company called We Rent Goats.
Oh.
Which rents out herds of goats for people to use to clear weeds or help with fire suppression on private land and property. So that's just who says I want to start a business where I just share my goats with people?
A crazy person.
These are like firefighting goats too. Like
firefighting goats? Do they get to wear hats?
Maybe, yeah, if there's forest fire and they gotta like eat all the vegetation to stop the fire, they give them little fire hats while they're doing it.
I think I want to get a goat and just give it a fire hat.
Just a firefighting goat?
Yeah.
Goats are surprisingly delicious.
They are. Yes, they are. We've ate goat quite a few times. It's actually considered a delicacy in some areas.
Yeah, well, when we were working in Joplin for a while, the owner of our company sent some up, and at first we were like, all right, you get tons of meat and all kinds of this shit, and you're going to send us the goat? You got buffalo. You got some filet mignons up there. We know you got some good T-bone steaks. And we get some goat. But then Dad cooked it up, and that shit was fucking delicious. We're like, yo, you can send all the fucking goat you want.
Yeah, it was delicious, actually.
So if you've never had goat, find a place that makes a good goat steak. You will not be disappointed. But yeah, hundreds of rogue goats. Evidently, they don't want to be rented.
They just want to live
said,
free.
You know what? We're going to do us for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so they broke out and they did them. And so good for these goats. I'm happy for them.
The goats are the goat. Those goats were the goat of goats.
They were the greatest goats of all time. They were the G goats.
Yes.
Capital G. Big G's.
Big G's.
Big G OATs. But that pretty much wraps up the WoW stories. But let's go ahead and get into a little segment where we talk about what we would do if we were the president of the United States.
If I was president, I'd get elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday, buried on Sunday. If I was president, if I was president.
You know what?
What?
I got two things.
Yeah?
Today, if I was president. The first thing I would do is I would let everybody know about the Vapor Store.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the Vapor Store at 1407 Lake St. Louis Boulevard?
That's exactly the Vapor Store.
Are you talking about the Vapor Store that's about to have a new location off Mexico Road in O'Fallon, Missouri?
That is exactly the Vapor Store I'm talking about.
Well, that's a pretty good if I were president, because I feel like every person in this great nation should know just how amazing the guys are at the Vapor Store. They have all the latest rigs. They got amazing tanks. You got a new one that they got on yours. It's amazing. You got that thing cranked up. The flavor's awesome. The coils last forever. They got all the supplies that you need to either get started or replace any used things that you might have. Perhaps you want to quit smoking. They can help you with that. Perhaps you just have a little nicotine fix. You want to quit. We actually started doing it so we could quit chewing, and I haven't chewed in a long time.
So long. My gums are so happy I switched over to vaping, and I get all my products from the Vapor Store.
And since I started going, I used to just chew when I played my games, and it was just something to kind of do while I did it, and when I would drive. And then I got a vape from another store that we will not name, and I used it a few times. I just didn't really like it. I'd actually chew and do that occasionally just because it wasn't enough. Then somebody turned me onto the vape store, went in there, and now that's all I do. And everything that I get from there is top quality, and you should definitely check them out. 1407 Lake St. Louis Boulevard, the vape store. Tell them Inside the Pocket sent you. Coming soon, a promo code.
Yes, I'm not certain what it's going to be and what the percentage is. I'm getting the ins and outs worked out on that. But let them know that we're the ones who sent you there so they can see that we're getting them business.
Yes, because that will help us. And then you help us. And then in turn, maybe we'll get better codes. And then we can help you by you helping us, helping them. And we can all just help each other.
Yeah, we can all just live in a symbiotic relationship.
We'll all just be happy, peaceful, and rip goofy fucking clouds.
All day.
So what else would you do if you were president?
Well, this one's going to go a little bit off the wayside, but I'm going to work on inflation.
Okay.
Now, listen. I don't hate kids, but we got to ban them for 10 years. No one can have kids for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, no kids, 10 years. And the ways I'm going to do it is I'm going to make birth control readily available and cheaper for people to get.
A lot of people would like that.
Yes, I'm also going to make vasectomy surgeries offered through a program for free, backing this. They might even get paid to do a vasectomy.
I would jump on this wagon because I don't even have kids, and it's hard to get a vasectomy if you don't have kids, because I don't even fucking want kids.
Now, if you do end up getting somebody pregnant and stuff like that, I'm not saying we're going to club them like a seal.
We're not going to be China over here. We're not just going to start killing them.
Yeah, we're not dropping them dead. However, I'm getting rid of all government backing and insurance policies going to the hospital. So if you are going to have a kid, you're going to have to pay every expense on your own.
So it's going to be one of those things. It's shitty, but sometimes drastic times call for drastic measures, and who know what kind of state the world's going to be in when we were actually eligible to be president. Not that we actually ever will, but I can see that if you were going to do it, you're going to provide... You'll basically put this in place, and you'll provide the means to help avoid it as much as possible. and then also say, okay, guys, this is your warning. The penalty for this is this will all be on you if you end up having having a child, and you'll be fully responsible for all the costs and everything that goes with it and stuff like that. So,
and with it, I'm going to give all the gold and precious materials back to the people. A lot like what JFK tried to do right before he was shot in the head. But you hear it in our intro, elected on Friday, assassinated on Saturday. If I was the president, I would probably get killed.
Most likely we would both be killed if we were president, because most people would be like, okay, yeah, these people are idiots. We need to get them out of here.
So that's my inside take on what I would do to move forward and get inflation down, because the prices of things are just getting ridiculous. Gas is skyrocketing, even though it's kind of like a different type of situation for gas. But like the prices of milk, or even simple things back in the day when my dad was a kid, your dad, gumball was a penny. Now it's a quarter. That's a 2,400% increase on the price of a gumball.
Yeah.
Now, milk used to be like 19 cents. Now it's like $4 to get something to milk, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. And so, obviously, costs will go up for supply and demand and stuff like that. But obviously, things have been devalued over the past 50, 60, 70 years immensely.
Substantially.
And that's where, you always see, like, the baby boomers talking shit on the millennials about, like, oh, well, back in my day, be like, yeah, well, back in your day, things were a lot different.
Yeah.
So, shut the fuck up. If I were president, I kind of talked about probably either of us would get taken out if we ever attempted to run this country. But I do think that I would advocate, if I got to be elected president, I would then, for future presidents, push to go back to kind of the early times where it's not just all these career politicians in big office, stuff like that. It would be, oh, we're electing this dude that was a teacher because now he wants to be the president and he thinks he's got some ideas. Or this guy that's an electrician. Or this woman that was whatever, just people that they don't dedicate their lives to the political system, but they're
involved in the community.
They're real people living in the country day to day, and give them a turn to see if they can't improve it. Even if you adjusted some things like term length and stuff like that, it would go back to where it's not so much, oh, you're getting paid to just dick around in the political system. Back then it was, you got into the political position, you ran it for a while, then you went back to living your everyday life.
Right.
And we kept it moving. And so we went a long way like that, so maybe we should try it out again.
And that'd be a country of the people, for the people.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Oh, that's America.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
And so it's a very American policy, and I would be a pretty American president. Now that we've covered what we would do if we were the presidents of this great country, let's go ahead and get into something else that seems to circulate a lot in this great country, are conspiracy theories. Okay, so my conspiracy theory is, since you're wanting to stop people from having a bunch of babies, I think you might be the next incarnation of Hitler. No babies, you're just taking people's rights away. Should I kill you right now?
I don't think you should kill me right now, because I'm very young and I have a lot of life to live. And just because I'm trying to help bring inflation down, I don't think that makes me quite like Hitler. I would say some of the other things that I've said. And
you have said a lot of things. I'm kind of compiling everything that's been said since we started the podcast to assume that you could possibly be misconstrued.
I'm not saying Hitler was a good guy, but dude was smart. Dude did do some things.
He wrote a book.
He did write a book, and only smart people write books.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, if you're dumb, you probably can't write too well.
Yeah, but I think there's been some dumb people to write books.
Well, I'm just saying, he did a good job writing a book telling exactly how he was going to try and conquer the world, and he almost did it. He also designed the helmets for the Nazi regime that we, the American military, currently uses that style of helmet, because it's the best known for reflecting bullets.
Well, I'm going to leave this up to the listeners. If you think Austin is a reincarnation of Hitler and you'd like me to take him out, you just send us a message and we will, weigh the pros and cons and we'll see what happens.
And it's weird that you say that, because my conspiracy theory is eerily similar, because I think I may be the reincarnation of Hitler. Because I've been having very vivid dreams of the 1940s and gas.
That's weird.
And I remember a place in Brazil. I don't know what that really means, but I remember a spot in Brazil just kind of hanging out for a while after, like, I was letting some shit cool down that I caused. I don't even know what really it was I caused. I just remember being on a beach hanging out, and I was like, oh, the hell. So I don't know what all that was about.
There were a lot of angry people, and you were just living your best life.
Yeah, I left everything behind, almost as if I didn't do anything, but I'm having some really weird dreams of, like, signing contracts and taking things from people and having a friend named Stalin.
Weird.
It is weird.
So let us know what you think about that. Well, most of our big segments are wrapped up now. We're going to jump into something that we talked about last week in our Tinder Talk section, where some guy named John thought that just because his name was John, people would think he was the Pope.
Yeah.
But we found that there's been a lot of popes with a lot better names than John. So we compiled a top 10 list of pope names. We're going to start this one off. Now, these are top 10. They're not actually ranked from 10 to 1, but this is just 10 together that we thought were pretty badass dudes. Sounded like great guys. The first one we got is Saint Hyginus.
He was a really clean guy, probably.
Yeah, he was clean as fuck, real into that hygiene. He was Greek, and apparently he was killed along with pretty much every pope for a very long time until Constantine ended the Crusades.
Yeah, pretty much.
So pretty much every pope before that got fucked. Saint Felix, he was just this cool-ass cat. Dude was Roman, and that's pretty much literally all he accomplished.
While he was in his papacy, I guess you would call it, he was a Roman.
Yeah, just a Roman dude, and had the same name as a pretty dope cat. We had Saint Sirius. He was most famously known as Harry Potter's godfather, did some hard time in Azkaban. However, not popular among other priests. He was the one that first commanded celibacy for the priests. So said no more sex for us, because it's gotten me into some shit.
Yeah, I keep having sex with people, and I went to Azkaban, and I'm tired of all that.
Following him, a complete 180 for the papacy, was Saint Innocent, known by many to have never done anything wrong, but we're talking about the Catholic priests here. This wasn't long after celibacy got introduced. Is this like the first pope cover-up?
Maybe that's not even his real name. He just went by Innocent, so people went, oh, he's innocent. Oh,
Yeah,
we gotta
he's
love
totally
him.
an innocent guy. He's touching kids.
Yeah, he's probably molesting kids that are under 9 years old.
And so I think that's possibly a future conspiracy theory we can look into. I don't know how much information you can find on early AD popes, but we might try to dig some shit up. You know, the internet's around now, so there's got to be something. After that, we got a great guy, Saint Hilarious. Dude was the first to introduce stand-up comedy to the church. Definitely the chillest popes until our most recent one. That's pretty much just like, you know what, God doesn't care, smoke weed, be gay, I don't care.
Yeah.
After that, we had Pope John. So
John did come up.
John came up. We tried to avoid it, but he totally came up. So not saying this is the guy in the Tinder story, but, you know, there was like 23 Johns, and I think another one does make the list later
Now,
on.
let's talk about... He didn't go by John.
Yes. So he was John the Second, but he was one of the first ones to go by a different name. He went by the name of Mercury because of the Roman god, which actually was a god of a lot of shit that I'm surprised a pope would be into. Or maybe I'm not surprised. It's the god of financial gain. Church doesn't pay taxes.
And they're greedy motherfuckers. Why does God need money?
Yeah, and also... you know, the god of commerce, the god of messages, communication, which they talk to a lot of people.
Especially kids.
Yeah, the Pope, or the god of travelers and boundaries, luck, trickery, and, thieves.
Oh.
Interesting.
No honor among thieves.
No honor among popes. So this dude... So yeah, all this stuff kind of checks out. I can actually literally see a pope being into this. What's this next one we got here? Saint Sergius introduced the singing of the Lamb of God at Mass. So this dude was pretty fucking metal.
Yeah, they're a pretty heavy-duty band, and for him to bring that into the church, that's just a wild move.
Especially, he must have been a time traveler, too, because the band is like a current band.
Yeah.
And so that's a little wild.
We might need to look into that, see how he was able to introduce that music, or did he introduce that music and then Silence of the Lamb, then covered it? And they're actually just a cover band.
Lamb of God.
Lamb of God, yeah.
Lamb of God is a cover band of shit that this guy introduced in the early AD church. After that, we got Pope-elect Stephen. He was the only pope to really not even be a pope. He died 3 days after he was elected, never receiving his episcopal consecration. The Catholic Church doesn't even recognize him as a pope. But, hey, he made the list, so he's a pope in my eyes.
I'm just proud of him because he fulfilled his name as Pope-elect.
Yeah, he got in there. And, I mean, good for him. He tried his best. Gregory the 14th was pro-choice.
Oh.
So he was all about that. He thought that they should be able to basically rid an unwanted marriage or unwanted
child. He would really fall into the category of what I was trying to do if I was president.
Yeah, and then he also made gambling on what pope was going to get elected punishable by excommunication. So apparently back in the day, gambling on who was going to win pope was like a degenerate Catholic betting thing.
So he's fine with killing babies, but he doesn't want people to bet on who's next?
Apparently. Weird.
That dude was the original Hitler.
Yes. And then number 9, we have another John making the list, St. John the 23rd. He was the last of the Johns. He was known as Good Pope John, and he helped in the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was the first pope to intervene on a political
standoff?
Yeah, like some sort of political thing, warfare-wise, like helped end a war, basically.
So he just stepped in and went, yo, God doesn't want this shit to happen?
I guess he was like, yo, Castro, God doesn't want these missiles, cuz.
In America, just chill.
Yeah. They were like, they're the land of the free. I'm the Pope. Let's just take care of this right now.
Yeah, let's not get wild. This is God's planet. You start throwing bombs around, we're all going to be dead.
Yeah, the final one we get on the list is Leo the 11th, known as the Lightning Pope.
Is this Thor?
I believe it was Thor. He also started and ended his popehood in the same year he was elected and ended up dying at the age of 69. Nice. So that's probably the 10, as far as we're concerned, the 10 coolest Pope names of all time. We got that off last week's Tinder Talks, so we're going to take that list and run you right into this week's Tinder Talks.
Yikes.
Okay, so we dug up a few more Tinder Talks this week. Like I said, if you guys get some of these wild messages, we like them a lot more when it's personal stuff or stuff that might not be posted on the internet, so we can debut it here. So if you have any crazy stories, or you know anybody who has some crazy stories based on messages or even an experience that they have from Tinder or Facebook Messenger or any dating site whatsoever, be sure and hit us up on our website. We'll have links to everything in our YouTube and SoundCloud and soon to be iTunes notes, and be sure and send them there. The first one we got here is a girl named Rachel. Apparently,
she received a message on August 9th, and it says, so, I see from your pics, you prefer Pepsi. Knew I should have swiped left.
Rachel responds, I guess you're a Coca-Cola lover.
And then this sir says, please stop messaging me.
Rachel's like, well, wait, I like Coca-Cola too.
And he goes, that's it, I'm blocking you.
So this guy's not having any of Rachel's shit.
He hates Pepsi more than he loves pussy.
He's a Pepsi Nazi.
Pepsi Nazi.
So we have a big theme going on right now.
We are a very consistent Nazi podcast.
After that, we got a girl named Catherine. She gets hit up by somebody saying, hey, do you know what my grandpa said before he kicked the bucket?
What did he say?
I wonder how far I can kick this bucket.
Then Catherine says bye.
And the dude's just like, all right, okay, see ya.
Which is understandable from Catherine.
Yeah.
If I got a joke like that, I'd be more mad than anything. I don't want to talk to this dude because the amount of puns he's going to put on you on a daily basis is just going to
be
ruin.
Bigger than that dick he's going to put on.
Yes, he's never going to be able to do, that's such a bad joke.
I know, but it's good at the same time. And I really like how when she said bye, he was like, totally understandable.
You know what? I totally get it.
I actually just used Tinder to test out my stand-up material.
I use Tinder to tell people shitty puns.
Yeah. After that, we get a girl named Kayla. Somebody hit her up, letting her know that, hey, I don't want to make this weird.
She replies, how could you make this weird?
This guy replies, well, have you ever heard of a disease called hot dog fingers?
Not really. Why?
Because I have it. I have hot dog fingers.
Okay, question mark?
So I don't know if this is actually a fucking disease. I looked it up and I literally just saw pictures of basically people taking hot dogs and cutting them up to look like fingers for like Halloween pranks.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah,
But
where it's like in a
dude's-
snack bowl.
But this dude's like, yo, I have hot dog fingers.
So, do you think that he actually just has really swollen hand?
Or do you think he was trying to make it sound like he had big fingers so like she would be interested in a finger blasting?
Or maybe like big hands, big dick?
Big hands, big dick, Nick Foles.
Is this Nick Foles?
Once again, we have a recurring theme that Nick Foles does a lot of fucked up shit in the off season.
Yeah.
Jerking off on airplanes on his way to Vegas and now hitting up girls with his hot dog fingers.
However, I don't think he has hot dog fingers because he caught that ball real easily. And I feel like if you had hot dog fingers, they'd be a little slippery.
Yeah, hot dogs are a little slimy unless he cooked them and they were nice and tough. He could really grab that
Ooh,
thing.
it really gets a good grip on it.
So after Kayla, we have a young lady by the name of Dinah. Somebody hits Dinah actually approaches this man, hits her up with just the simple hi, which people that just hit people up with a simple hi or hey on a dating website, you're fucking boring and I don't even respond to that
Right.
shit. Dinah hits him up with hi. So maybe this guy read the same thing because he gets right into it and he says, hey Dinah, do you like hang gliding?
Never tried it before, but sure.
This dude hits her up with a would love to see a dinosaur.
Is that supposed to be funny?
So obviously this girl's not into puns either.
No.
But he doubles down and hits her with the, well, I thought it was dynamite.
And I give him credit. I
Yeah.
think this dude played the game well.
He wasn't trying to hit her up with a pun. He's trying to say, this girl's boring. I'm going to use my power, my pun power, to just get her away from me.
However, it did take him 55 minutes to reply. So do you think he like really was
55 minutes,
thinking
he's
about
just like,
this
what
pun?
can I do to make this a clever conversation? And then he's like, if it leads to sex, cool. If not, yeah, whatever. I got to make some good puns. After that, we got Amanda, our final one. This guy comes at her with some crazy shit and hits her up with the, I want you to wear my father's work suit and take me out to the shed to show me what happens to naughty boys. So
says Amanda. I'll put it on the to-do list.
This guy hits her up with the sorry, I meant to say hey, autocorrect, right? And so that is a pretty fucking funny like bounce back from a crazy ass thing. But read that first message. Do you think that's a cry for help? Do you think this kid was molested?
Do you think that he was molested by Pope Innocent?
Do you think Pope Innocent was his father? My father might not be referring to his actual dad, but Father Pope Innocent, who was in his work suit, the Pope outfit, and took him out to the shed
And showed
behind the
him what
church.
naughty boys get.
Pope Innocent, I think we're on to your shit here.
Don't think Pope Innocent was very innocent.
Also, when we were looking up stuff on the Pope, it had some of the old pronunciations, and I think we should return to referring to him as, like, instead of father or whatever, just hit him up with Poppy.
Yeah, it was Papa. P-A-P-A. Papa was actually what a lot of people referred to as the Pope's before father. So I'm going to start calling Papa Francis Papa Francis.
Yeah, or if I ever go to a Catholic church for a wedding or something and the pastor comes up and they're like, oh, thank you, Father Riley or Pastor O'Reilly, I'll just be like, Papa O'Reilly, what up?
What up, Big Papa?
Be like, that was a great sermon there, Papa.
Yeah, no, that's a good move. But still, this guy was getting molested at some point in his life.
And Amanda apparently put it on her to-do list to remind him of that. But, I mean, what's weird is she's like, I'll put it on the to-do list. And this dude's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean that. I mean, Amanda sounds like she might be into that.
I think he blew his cover because she said the to-do list. So she was going to do it. She's going to do them.
Yeah, she's like, I'll take you out to that shed and show you what I do to naughty boys.
Yeah. So I think he blew his own cover.
Do you think Amanda and Pope Innocent do the same thing to naughty little boys?
Yeah. Yeah, they just touch them underneath and say, make sure you don't tell anyone about this. Yeah, I bet you that's what happened.
So Amanda and Pope Innocent might be running an inside child molestation ring.
Yes.
All right, so we're on to Amanda. We're going to trace this image, and we'll be notifying the proper authorities. So now that our tender talks are done, let's just jump right over into some debatables. I think we got some good ones this week. We're starting off with a nerdy one. Anybody that's watched the Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings saga, this is a good one. Who do you think would win in this one? The girlfriend was kind of looking at us like we were idiots when we thought of this one, but Gandalf the White versus Dumbledore.
Gandalf. I think Gandalf's going to win.
And I think Dumbledore would win probably because I feel like he has a lot more crazy-ass magic.
I just think Gandalf's more of a badass.
Yeah, I think Gandalf is more of a battle mage and Dumbledore is more of like a Merlin type wizard.
Yes.
So I feel like when it would come down to it, like Dumbledore would have greater magical spells at his disposal, but Dumbledore might come out and just beat him over the head with that fucking staff.
You mean Gandalf might beat him over the head? Yeah.
Gandalf would be like, yeah, fuck this spell. I'm just going to fucking take you out.
I think he'd just banish him to another
Incidentally enough, played by the same guy. Not originally in Harry Potter, but after that dude died, then the guy that played the same, played both of them. So, R.I.P.
So wait, is Gandalf and Dumbledore the same guy?
Like the same actor, but they're not.
Yeah, but are they the same guy? Just like traveling from universe to universe? They're both magic.
And he could just change his name to hide his cover. Might.
Maybe when Gandalf the Grey died, he went to go be Dumbledore. And then when Dumbledore died...
Then he split. He's like a guy that when he dies, he's just the old version, like kind of like splits off.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah. I was going to say he became Dumbledore, then when
Or
Snape
maybe
killed
Lord of the
Dumbledore-
Rings takes place way long ago, and he's somehow related to Dumbledore.
Ooh, that's not a bad theory either.
The next one we have is animals we think we could fight. There's some people that basically talk about, like, you know, I won't eat any animal that I couldn't kill with my bare hands. So we're like, well, let's think about it. What kind of animals do I think? I think a lot of the smaller game animals, rabbits, squirrels, foxes.
Let's lay down the rules. You're in a cage, no weapons, bare hands.
1v1.
1v1, the dead one is dead and gets eaten. The one that lives gets to move on to the next animal. I believe, like you said, all small game I could take.
Pretty easily.
Yes. So, like, squirrels, rabbits, chickens.
I don't know if I could take a large pig, like a real hog. Because those things get to be hundreds of pounds. And they can be mean as fuck.
Oh, yeah. They eat people. They've had
So
them
it might
eat
get
people
to
before.
it might get to the point where I wouldn't get to eat pigs anymore.
You don't think if you clocked a pig, though, right on the side of the head, you wouldn't fuck it up a little
I
bit?
don't know. It's almost like they don't have like a neck, and so it's their head is just their body still.
Yeah, I don't know. Like right under the ear, I think you punch that pretty hard. I think
Like a
that's gonna
smaller
fuck up a little
pig,
bit.
like I could take
I'd
out
just
some
stomp out a
small pigs.
potbelly pig. I'd
Yeah.
just ruin one of those
Yeah, fuck
motherfuckers.
that thing. But like a deer, I don't know if I'd take on like a big 200-pound buck. That thing could gore you or stomp your shit out. But like a doe or something with those long necks, I bet I could get around there and just choke it out.
Yeah, and I think I could even do like a young buck, like a button buck, because they have like just singles or like 2 points.
Yeah.
Sure, they could ram you and impale you, but if you're able to get a hold of those, they're going to have a hard time with the directional change because you're going to be in control, and I think you could break one of their necks pretty easy.
And you can get into some stuff like I'd fight a kangaroo. That'd be fun because
I'd
they're
fight a
kind of like
kangaroo.
human-like.
Even though I think I'd lose. I think like in the long distance punching it I would, but as soon as it gets a kick
Depends
up
on how big that kangaroo is because I've seen it's a pretty jacked kangaroo.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a kangaroo could beat me.
But then there's that video of that dude just straight up blasting a kangaroo.
Yeah.
It's just like, yo, cuz, my bad.
Yeah, I'm going to back off. But a cow,
I don't know if I could take a cow.
I don't think I could either. Because, like, I don't think you could do anything to affect a cow. Like, if you walked up and kicked a cow's
Unless
leg
it was
in,
sleeping. If it's not attacking you at first and you just waited it out to see who could stay awake the longest and that cow fell asleep, then you tip it over and just stomp it out.
But do you think you'd be able to stomp enough to kill a cow?
I don't know. It'd be tough.
That's what I'm saying.
they're
Like,
big,
if you walked
strong
up and
animals.
punched a cow in the face,
I think I'd break my hand.
I don't think it'd even do anything. I think it would just look at you like, what the fuck was that?
What the fuck are you doing?
That's why I was saying, really, the only thing I could think of doing is walking up and, like, sweeping the legs. Making it incapacitated.
And I don't know if you're going to sweep the legs out of a multi-100-pound.
I mean, if I ran up and drop kicked it in the knee,
It would probably break its leg.
Pretty sure it's gonna go down.
No, that might be a tactic. And just, I could see you literally just getting up and Jeff Hardy double leg kicking each of its legs out from under it, trying to take it.
But I think straight up fighting a cow, I would lose. Because I don't think I could literally do anything to it enough to hurt it.
Yeah.
Because, like, even if I take its legs out, what do I do now?
And then if you did piss it off and it just said, fuck this, it would stomp you out.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't get its legs out, it'd just stomp you and you'd be ruined.
After that, I can have two of them very similar. How many house cats do you think it would take to take out a lion?
Well, I think there's actually a number on this one. Because cats, even though they're tiny, they're also primal killers. Like, they kill a lot of shit.
And they have razor blades in their hands and feet.
You get, like, I'd say, like, 50 to 100 house cats, aggressive house cats, could maybe take down a lion.
I'm going to say you're going to need closer to 250. Just because of the sheer weight of the lion.
I just don't think a lion would be able to come up with the quickness of that many cats.
And it's also, I mean, lions are pretty quick.
Yeah, I know, but they're not nearly as elusive as a house cat. A house cat could get around a lot quicker.
Those things could be juking around and they could get a few of them. But even if you think about it, like, I don't know how much, like, I don't know, our cat weighs maybe 10 pounds, 10 pounds maybe. So if you had, that's still only 25 pounds, like 25 pounds on each paw of a lion, like.
Yeah, but I mean, if a lion stomps on one, it's done.
I'm doing that wrong. That's way wrong. That's 250 pounds on each. So
I thought you meant just the paw weight, 25 pounds.
No, I meant like how much weight would 25 cats be? So that's 250 pounds for 10
cats.
25 10-pound cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's 1,000 pounds on cat there. That's a lot of cat.
That's a lot of cat. That's a lot of prime killing weight.
So I would kind of say somewhere between the 1 to 200 mark, you're going to get a group of house cats to take out a lion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
But then you also got to think about, like, they'll be annoying and shit, but, like, to literally get through and kill that lion.
As long as they keep cutting it up.
Because that lion can just be, like, chomping.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
probably gonna
crushing them too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think weighs 400, 500 pounds.
Yeah, I think the longevity is what's key, and I think 100 to 200 house cats will outlast the one lion. Like, sure, it'll probably kill 50 to 100 of them, but it's going to get pretty tired after that.
But if you only have 100 of them, that's all of them, and it wins.
I said 50 to 100. If it's 100 and he gets 50 of them, you still have 50 more of these things clawing away at you.
I don't know.
Because I think if they start, because think of it, you have 50 cats clawing at you everywhere.
If they keep clawing,
they're going to keep hitting the same claw marks, and they're just going to start ripping them open.
I'm going to say you need about 200 cats.
Does it matter what kind of house cat?
Just your basic, like 10 to 15 pound cat, not a fat cat, just a healthy cat.
Yeah, I'm saying 100 to 200.
Yeah,
I think that'll get the job.
Now let me ask you this one: how many chihuahuas would it take to take out a wolf?
I don't think there's a number.
You don't think there's a legitimate amount of chihuahuas that can kill a wolf?
They're trembling dogs. Sure, they're aggressive.
They are aggressive, though. They will attack you. They are trembling because they're dumb, but they will fight you.
Yeah, but a wolf is a savage. Like lions, the lion cat.
It's also a pack animal, and it's not going to have a pack of wolves. It's going to be one wolf versus a pack of
chihuahuas. But
400 chihuahuas.
Chihuahuas aren't like cats, though. They're not natural born killers. Like, they're just
they'll fight.
Yeah, but
they got that Mexican blood.
Yeah,
they'll get you.
ASA. But I think that wolf's gonna fuck up chihuahuas just all day long.
Really?
Yeah, just because I think chihuahuas, when they see a few of them go down, the rest are gonna run. They're gonna be scared of the wolf.
No, they don't have an option. They are fighting to the death.
No, I get that, but like in a cage, they're gonna run around until the wolf kills them all. Lions and cats, even if a cat dies, a cat's still going to try and attack you. Chihuahuas, I think they're going to get fearful.
No, I think they'll keep going until it got down to a few of them where it would alpha them.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a number. That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's a number. The only way you could do it is if the ring was completely full.
I'm going to say 2,000 Chihuahuas could take out a wolf. Think of 2,000 Chihuahuas.
Yeah, once he kills like 10 of them.
A Chihuahua might weigh like 4 pounds.
Maybe.
I don't know. Brandon had those fat ones. That one weighed like 10 pounds.
You were saying healthy.
So healthy Chihuahua. 4 to 5 pounds, is that a Chihuahua weight?
Yeah.
So if they weighed 5 pounds and you had 2,000 of them.
But Chihuahuas also can't jump. Like, they can't jump onto the wolf.
They can run up the wolf if they can get it off its feet. You get like 1,000 to just charge, that thing's gonna eventually fall over, and then it's getting up.
I don't think so. I think it's just gonna stomp them when it's coming through. I think it's just gonna be
that much weight.
Yeah, I know, but they got big ass fucking claws on their feet. I think at any time, every step it makes in a crowd of Chihuahuas, it's killing 2 of them.
No, absolutely not.
I think so, because as soon as they start yapping,
I think 2,000 Chihuahuas takes out a wolf. You think no amount of Chihuahuas? 1,000,000 Chihuahuas.
I think the only way they would win is through fatigue. Once the wolf got tired of murdering thousands of them and finally had to fall asleep out of exhaustion.
A million Chihuahuas would be 5 million pounds.
Yeah. And I think it would kill over 1 million of those before getting tired.
No, not at all. That they would literally just create a Chihuahua tidal wave that would just crush it.
No, they couldn't. They shake too much. There would be no way.
Half of them would die under the weight of themselves.
Yeah.
But they'd kill a wolf.
I don't know, man. I think a wolf is way more agile than a Chihuahua and smarter. So it would just dick the shit out of them.
I think a couple thousand Chihuahuas takes out a wolf.
I don't know. Leave that up to them. I want to know how many Chihuahuas you guys think it would take to kill a wolf.
And we'll debate a little further maybe later on. Or maybe we'll do... One thing we're talking about doing in the future are some little shorty podcasts. Mm-hmm. Where we basically just flip the mic on and
do
just
a 15, 20-minute little interval.
Yeah, just a conversation, guys. It's just, it's a lazy, chill Sunday, and maybe we have something we're talking about. We're in the middle of a debate. Boom, flip a recorder on and start recording, and then we'll post it. Mm-hmm. And so if you guys would be interested in hearing some of that, let us know. This week's beer review we did... we actually did it live from barrels the other night, so we're going to go ahead and throw you guys to it. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of the podcast and enjoy the beer review.
I'm not made for paving long roads. I ain't cut out to climb highline poles, but I'm pretty good at drinking beer.
Live here at Barrel's Tap House and Grill on the patio.
At the corner of Highway K and Highway Inn in O'Fallon, Missouri, 109 beers on tap, including the one that we are reviewing today, which is Peach Jubilee by 4204 Main Street Brewing Company. 109 beers on tap, amazing food, amazing people, and be sure and check them out and buy yourself a Inside the Pocket t-shirt while you're there.
Oh yeah, they're nice and blue, a nice royal blue.
Don't steal them or we will fuck you up.
It's already happened and we're having problems with it.
Okay, so tonight's beer that we're trying out is a new addition to their 109 beers on tap. It is Peach Jubilee by 4204 Main Street Brewing Company. It's a blonde ale. How much alcohol is in this?
Well, in this one in particular, Gavin, there is 4.5% alcohol content in this one. And I will say that's a normal amount of alcohol content for your standard beers. I believe like all the domestic beers like Bud Light, Coors Light, Budweiser and Busch, anything like that, you're going to get between 4 and 5%. Now, for a beer of this stature, of it being of a brewery in Illinois, which is where this is made, is O'Fallon, Illinois, on 4204 Main Street.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Oh my God, it's almost like the name's on the can. But anywho.
That's almost some like Adele level marketing.
Yeah, it's up there.
Like, oh, I'm just going to name my shit my age. We're just going to name our brewing company our address.
Absolutely. But
I like it.
I will say that for something with the alcohol content that a standard domestic beer would have, this one has a lot more flavor.
I was thinking the exact same thing. It literally, I mean, you can still taste that it's a beer, but it's almost, it's not quite like a Reds or something, but it's even
like a peach cobbler.
Yeah, it's even more flavorful than like a Blue Moon or something, and it's lighter, so you could drink more of it.
Oh my, it's so light.
Yeah, it wouldn't fill me. I could literally drink a 12-pack of this throughout the night.
Yeah.
If I was feeling peachy as fuck.
Oh, if you're feeling, I like what you're doing. If you want to get that ass off your girl, see that peach, give her a fucking 6-pack of these.
I'm feeling peachy, wanting to see some peachy. Let's drink some peachy.
Absolutely. So, the can itself is actually a pretty provocative can. After looking it up, the can itself actually has a naked girl on the cover turned around.
I was literally about to say, what, is there a naked chick on it?
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. And she is back towards you, but the name Peach Jubilee, which is the name of this beer that we are reviewing, is covering her private parts. So
I wonder if this is the X-Men Jubilee and they're referring to her vagina. Like, this beer is made out of the vaginal juices of an X-Men woman.
well, if her superpower is her vagina tasting like peaches, that's one peach I want to get into.
So I'm really enjoying this one. Like we said, it's not super heavy. You can enjoy many of these throughout the night. Would probably go great with like a dessert.
Yeah,
Like-
it's definitely really sweet. If
Like
you're
here
not,
at 109, they have donut holes and cheesecake that you can get to dessert, and even like some ice cream sundaes. This would probably go really good with their
Yes,
cheesecake.
yes.
Like if you were at a wedding or something,
this would be a great thing to hand out to the females at a wedding.
that or once they cut up the wedding cake, you bust this out and enjoy it with the
Ooh,
wedding
yeah, and
cake.
everybody could have it. I will say that it is really on the sweet side after having a couple. It's very much on the sweet side. So if you're looking for something to drink throughout the night, I actually would not suggest this one.
Unless you're a sweet tooth like
And
me.
yeah, if you're a sweet tooth, this is up on your board, but it's very sweet.
Yeah.
So
If you're somebody who strictly enjoys the taste of beer, this might not be for you because it is a very fruity drink.
yeah, it literally, like I said earlier, it tastes like a peach cobbler. Like it literally, I feel like somebody strained a peach.
If you just
into my
crumbled a few
glass.
little pie crusties in there, this would be.
Yes.
Ooh, you can almost do it like a margarita glass. And
You think you could freeze it and like make it kind of hard and do like a graham cracker in it?
I was
or
almost
something?
thinking like you pour it into a margarita type glass, and then you dip the rim into some graham cracker and marshmallow topping, and then sip it through that, and it would be almost like a peach cobbler.
It would. It would be up there. No, that'd be a good idea.
So
I'd
not
actually
only
like
are
to
we
try
throwing
it.
out reviews, we're throwing out some drink suggestions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're going to go ahead and jump into our 10-point review, I'm going to have to give this one a 7.8. It's very delicious. I like it a lot. It isn't, as far as a beer, I wouldn't drink this. I personally wouldn't pick this up for a party.
No.
This isn't the party beer, or if you're playing beer pong or you're going hard all night, that's not the beer. However,
Also,
this
if you're
is
a
a beer.
dude's dude, you're gonna get made fun of if you bring one of these.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
until that dude talks shit and you beat the shit out of him, and then he's the dude that got beat up by a dude
Guy
who's not a
drinking-
dude's dude
yeah,
drinking a girl drink.
Yeah, I can see that.
So then you reestablish your alpha status by being more beta than the alpha, but still alphaing him, thus making him the beta.
Huh. I never really thought of it like that. But no, I guess that's.
But yeah, this isn't something I drink at a party when I'm trying to go hard or anything, but this is one if you're out at a dinner or you're out and you guys order dessert or something, this would be a delicious one. Like I said, they have it here at Barrel's Taphouse in O'Fallon. It's delicious, so if you want to try it, be sure and stop in. Tell them the guys from Inside the Pocket sent you. It totally helps us out, so make sure you fucking say that.
Yeah, say
And,
that 100%. If
say
you
it.
don't say that, you come here and I find out, I'm going to be real upset.
And
Also,
we're
if you
gonna
don't
come
buy a
fucking
shirt
fight you.
while you're here, I'm going to be even more upset.
Yeah, I'm not even fucking kidding right now.
This isn't even a podcast anymore.
I'm talking to you.
To you specifically.
I know who you are,
And we can see that you follow us.
and I know where you're at right now.
We can find your address,
I'm looking it up right now.
like currently at this moment.
And I'm telling you right now, if you don't go to Barrels and buy this beer and buy a t-shirt,
You're fucking dead.
what's your review on this beer,
My
Austin?
review on this beer is actually a little bit lower than yours, and it's going to be at a 6.4.
Wow, that's a big jump.
Yeah, I know it's a big jump, but
That's over a point.
wow, points. Anywho, yeah, I'm giving it a 6.4. I do enjoy the beer for what it is, but like I said, I don't think this is one that I could continue drinking throughout the night. A lot like the blueberry shanty that they have here.
Yeah.
I like to have one or two of those, but it's not one I can continuously drink. It's too sweet for me. I think after a few of these, it would upset my stomach. If I did a 6-pack, I might be able to get through a 6-pack, but like if I was coming here, I'm like, I'm drinking tonight. This is not what I'm going to drink.
No, I could see, and like I said, I agree with you. If I were in a party setting or something like that, this is one of those things, like, if it was a night where I had some shit to do and I was just stopping in for dinner, I might have a couple of these with dinner. But if it was like on Sunday football and we're going to be drinking all day,
yeah, this is
probably not what I'm going for. Because
you might wrap up with it though. You might do a pitcher
dessert beer. It's like you go hard, you have your drinks. We throw back a couple of car bombs, maybe have some new drinks here, barrels that they're always whipping up, and then we top it all off with a delicious peach jubilee.
You can always come in here at Barrels and get a Lunchbox's coffee. It's a really good drink. I can't tell you everything that goes in it because I'm not a bartender and I don't really know, but I can tell you that it's delicious and gets you fucked up.
And if this beer sounds like it piques your interest, stop on in. Free samples.
Yeah, free samples. They come in like shot glasses.
Yeah, if you're having a meal here and you want to try out a beer, you're not sure if you want to commit to a full glass, just ask one of the lovely bartenders for a sample, and you'll get a free sample of it. And if you enjoy it, just hop right into a full glass. If you don't enjoy it, well, just keep on browsing the menu till you find something you like. Like I said, 109 beers on tap, they're bound to have something that you enjoy.
Yeah, with 109 on tap, if there's one there that you can't find that you enjoy, you just are a picky fucking person.
Yeah, you can't be pleased.
Yeah,
and you should stop listening to our podcast, for one.
Yeah.
And two, you should just disassociate yourself with however you happen to find this podcast.
Yeah, you're just asking a lot out of a lot of people, and you're probably going to die alone with a lot of cats or dogs, whichever one.
Probably cats, because dogs don't deserve to live with a person that terrible that they can't pick one beer out of 109.
No, and I agree with you, and cats typically just kind of sit on their own and just don't give a fuck about you.
They'll just hang out till you die and then eat you.
Yeah, pretty much. So
and then you'll just be a mystery.
If you can't find a beer here at Barrel's Taphouse that you don't enjoy, since they have 109 on tap, you're going to die alone and your cats are going to eat you.
I would bet you $1,000 that you'll find a beer that you'll enjoy, and if you don't, I'll just punch you in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so that's our beer review, guys, and we hope you have an awesome day.
Yeet!
Inside the pocket of a clown. It is a sad